You're listening to the 3 Feet Radio Show with Ben Carbonaro and Luke Herbert. From our studios come special guests and netball commentary, exclusively on YouTube.
Good afternoon, listeners, and welcome again to the 3 Feet Radio Show. It's not long to go now with the Commonwealth Games coming up, and we've got a very special guest today, haven't we, Luke Herbert?
Oh, we certainly do, Ben, and I've been looking forward to interviewing this guest, particularly since she's the coach of, if not, we can't really say they're the favourites, but one of the teams you would expect to make the final for the gold medal match at the Commonwealth Games for the netball. But so who are we talking with, Ben?
We're talking with the Australian team coach, Lisa Alexander. G'day, Lisa. How are you?
G'day, Ben and Luke.
How's things going over there, first of all? Obviously, with preparations, you're in Manchester, I believe.
Yeah, we are. It's a great city. It's very vibrant, and it's actually where we last won a gold medal, so it's got some nice significance for us. It's got some good karma. And we've also had a lovely dinner out with the Australian swim team last night, because they're also preparing here. And the facilities are fantastic. The Manchester City have really looked after us and made us feel at home.
Yeah, and I'll say that. How did you find mixing with the swim team? It's obviously always good to mix with different sports, no doubt, Lisa.
Oh, look, it's fantastic, Ben. This is the great thing about the Commonwealth Games, is that you get to really be part of a bigger team. And, I've been an Australian swimming team fan, for many years since, I can remember as when I was in grade 3, I watched Shane Gould win all those gold medals in Munich. And, they have a great significance in Australia's sporting culture and history. So it was fantastic for us all to get together, and I spent quite a bit of time talking with John Bertram, the new president of Swimming Australia, and he's such an inspirational man himself. I mean, look at the America's Cup, and also to Dennis Cottrell, fantastic swimming coach, and we just chewed the fat and had a great time.
And just while you're speaking of the way you have been, spending a bit of time with the coaches of the Australian swimming team, sort of leads me into this question. And what sort of other professional development do you undertake for your coaching? So what other instances have there been if you're talking to coaches from other sports?
Look, we actually are very lucky because the Australian Sports Commission and the Australian Institute of Sport have a fantastic performance leadership, whole group that organise lots of PD activities for particularly the national coaches. And at the start of the year, I was lucky enough to go to the Australian Open and spend a whole day with other national coaches and really immerse ourselves into Tennis Australia's coaching structure. So we try to share information as much as possible. So that was wonderful. I really enjoyed that. I have a good bond with Dumper, our water polo Australian coach, because he's coaching females as well. I get on very well with Adam Commons, who's our Hockey Roos coach. So we really have a good bond. We understand what each other is going through, and we try and support each other. And the other thing I do is I try to look outside just the normal national sports that are Olympic or Commonwealth Games sports, and I spend quite a bit of time talking to AFL coaches, particularly Nathan Buckley and Brendan McCartney, who I admire very much, and hopefully they get a bit of PD from me, but I also get PD from them as well. So I really enjoy that part of this job.
When you picked the 12 for Glasgow, Lisa, did you pick them with a particular, a particular game plan in mind?
Look, yes, we did. We've done a lot of research and work, and particularly our performance analyst, Dr. Mitch Mooney, who's been working with us for the past 18 months, has done a lot of work on analysis of other teams. And we believe we have a style of play that will help us to prevail against any opposition. And we need to have the athletes to do that game style. So it's obviously, you can see it. It's not a big secret. We play one-on-one defence. It has to be in front because internationally, if we're poking from behind, we'll be able to play. So we really have to make sure we've got athletes who are very, very fit, and who are versatile, particularly for a tournament like the Commonwealth Games. So certainly we've had that in mind. But also we're terribly lucky we've got so many terrific athletes, and, the 4 training partners that are over here with us are just top quality players. In any other country, they'd be in the starting 7. So, we're very, very blessed.
Just while we're talking about the squad, can you please tell us about the 2 training camps that the Australian team undertook before you guys departed for the Commonwealth Games?
Yeah, we undertook obviously at the start of the year, the January simulation camp, but we really tried to nut out our systems and processes for early matches and just getting all of our sleeping patterns right. And it is a big change for the girls because, we normally used to playing in the afternoon or, at night time. So it certainly, was important to do that. And then also we had our selection camp, of course, through the middle of the year, which we really, as well as selections, we really concentrated on giving the girls some time to recover and checking with all of our national staff. And then we had our team camp a couple of weeks ago at the Institute of Sport, where we really concentrated on that, getting all of our structures and game plans and attacking flow right. We had 3 terrific practice matches against top quality Australian squad members and invitees. And, it was a perfect preparation, I have to say. We had a parents and partners program as well at that camp where parents and partners come in so they could understand what the girls are going through and help to support them as best they can when they're over here in Glasgow.
And obviously you had that one just before you went over to the UK, Lisa. You're in camp now as well. Has there been any standouts so far?
Well, we've only had one training session, Ben, So it's pretty hard. But look, I have to say I'm excited to see Julie Corletto in such great shape. It's been an enormous journey for her. She missed that, obviously in Delhi in 210 with her injury and then came back to the World Champs in 211. But I have to say it's pretty scary. She's looking in career best shape. So we're delighted with where she's at the moment.
And just switching gears here for a moment, how did you view the ANZ Championship season and more specifically the grand final?
Oh, look, it just keeps exceeding our expectations. I think, Luke, it really goes to another level every year. I'm terribly proud of all the Australian franchises and how hard they work and how professional they are. And they just keep getting better. And to have the 3 of them in those finals, the Swifts, the Vixens and the Firebirds, was a great testament to those programs, because our talent is spread out around the country. So, it was a terrific season, really close. You had Steel beating the Vixens in that last round. So it was just unpredictable. And I think that's what makes a great sporting competition. It's also terrific from my point of view as a national coach to have the players playing in the world's best competition week in, week out. And the final series, Melbourne really showed their class and the work that they've done with their coach, Simone McInnes, on, really being very, very ruthless. I think at the end of the day, they made sure they got that victory. They worked terribly hard. Tegan Caldwell obviously came of age in that final. So, it was all around a very good season for the Australian team.
Just on Tegan Caldwell, her performance of the ANZ Championship season this year was amazing. And also, it's hard to believe a couple of years ago, Lisa, she was just playing local netball in Geelong.
Well, that's right, Ben. She was really a late bloomer. We didn't even actually pick her up until right on 21 and unders World Youth Cup in 2009, and she really, showed that she was a great talent there and as part of the winning team. So, she's had a later start, and in many respects that's, been a bit of a disadvantage for her. She had to get used to doing the daily training that all the athletes need to do. But she certainly really embraced that. She's a terribly disciplined girl. She listens to her coaches and really implements all that's been asked of her, and it's a credit to her. She's put work in.
Just before we wrap up with the show, away from New Zealand, which other countries can you see pushing for a medal and providing the top tier nations with some decent competition in Glasgow?
Look, I think actually, Luke and Ben, that this is actually going to be a real surprise event for the netball fans of World Netball. I think the country's starting to wake up, particularly South Africa. I think they will be a handful. I'm really anticipating a tough game. It's our last game of our rounds. I think they've unearthed quite a tall defender, and, as soon as they get their systems and programs in place, they're going to be one of the real world powers, I believe. Jamaica are always behind the 8 ball with their, lack of facilities and resources that they have in their training environment, but they've got so much heart and flair that they're always going to be a danger, and they've got, Jamil Fowler and also Ronaldo. So, definitely to be continued with. And then, of course, England, who, we're madly preparing for now. And, they really have great belief in themselves. They've got a lot of confidence. So I think that top four particularly, but also South Africa and perhaps Malawi are really pushing. And that's great for our international games.
All right, thanks very much for joining us, Lisa. Don't work too hard, and good luck for the first game against Wales, and hopefully we'll see you bring home the gold back here to Australia.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Luke.
You've been listening to the 3 Feet Radio Show with Ben Carbonaro and Luke Herbert. Tune in next time for more special guests and netball commentary exclusively on YouTube.